Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want.
You're listening to the Love Your Work Life podcast, episode 1.
Today I want to talk about lessons learned from Donald Miller. Now, I don't know if you know who Donald Miller is. He, started out as an author. I'd read, many of his books. They're actually very good books. There's a lot of lessons in the books. But there was a point in time where he pivoted to marketing. And at the time, because I knew him as this author, this very philosophical person, from his books, I thought, oh, Donald, what are you doing? This doesn't seem right. There's something wrong here. But the more I engaged with his content, the more intrigued I became. And ultimately, I took his course because his thoughts on marketing were so life-changing for me. I was a marketer at the time. I was launching a company's direct-to-consumer digital marketing and branding initiatives. And what is so cool is that even now, as a career coach, a job search advisor, a life coach, I am constantly inserting Donald's marketing philosophy into career strategy, to how to approach a job search. So let me tell you a little bit about it. At the time, I took his course. It was called Story Brand. And the whole idea of marketing was to use a storyline, to follow a storyline as you present your product or services to customers, because we all love a story and we all love a happy ending, right? So when you think of this, there's a couple of things that stand out to me that I use all the time that I want to talk about with you. The first one is people buy things to make their lives easier and better. That's actually very simple. And as marketers, we will capture the attention of our audience, of our prospective customers, when we keep our messaging very simple and when we show a customer how buying our product, buying our service, hiring you makes their life easier and better. So how do we do this? Well, people need problems solved on a physical level, but there's also an emotional component and a philosophical component to solving problems. And when you can touch on each one of those levels, your product becomes irresistible. People can start to resonate with it, and they can see how it's actually making their life easier and better at all three of those levels. Now, an example that he used that I love is the idea of a lawn that looks terrible. So yes, a lawnmower solves the problem on a physical level because you can mow the grass and you can keep things looking good. But it also solves the problem on an emotional level, because when your yard looks terrible, every time you drive up to it, you feel shame and embarrassment and maybe even frustration over it, because now at the philosophical level, you are thinking to yourself, it really shouldn't be so hard to have a great yard. So this lawnmower is actually going to solve that problem at all three levels. The lawnmower company that does the best job of marketing their product as solving the problem at all three of those levels is the one that's going to win. So what does this have to do with a job search? Well, when you as a candidate can go in and show a hiring manager, show a recruiter how you are solving a problem on all three of these levels, you become highly attractive. But how do you do it? Well, you reframe how you look at a job description. Consider this, that every single bullet point on a job description is actually a pain point to be solved, and it's the position that solve those pain points, meaning you in that position are the solution. You're solving all those pain points. So when you look at this job description and you start aligning yourself, all your skills, abilities, transferable skills to those pain points, and you're describing yourself in that way during an interview and on your resume as being the solution to that problem, well, they start to resonate with you. They start to feel like you really get them. You really understand the problem that they're trying to solve. They just want someone in there who can do the job, who takes the pressure off of them. They don't have to worry about it anymore. And it just doesn't have to be so hard to have a smooth running team to get all the work done. You, as that person in the role, suddenly make a lot of sense to them. So I want you to think about next time you look at a job description, really look at those as pain points and outline how each one of your transferable skills, tangible experiences all line up to solving that problem, and how you are making the hiring managers, making your future boss's life easier and better because you're in the role. Another piece of what Donald teaches with regards to marketing is that any company who's marketing a product or service, that you're not actually the hero in the story. That when somebody wants to make their life easier and better, and that is the reason we buy things, we don't really care that your business has been around for 80 years and you started it in your basement and, your grandpa started it, or whatever the story is. It's a great story. Maybe it feels a bit nostalgic and it probably makes you feel good, but it doesn't really have anything to do with how you're going to make my life easier and better. This is a trap a lot of people fall into in an interview when you're asked that question, tell me a little bit about yourself. Your history isn't telling me as a hiring manager anything. What I want to hear is how you're going to show up and you're going to make my life easier and better because you are solving these problems that the role is solving for the company. How you do this is you reframe yourself from, instead of being the hero, which puts a lot of pressure on you because you got to show up and you got to be everything as a hero, right? You don't have to show up as the hero. You actually show up as the guide. You show up as the person who shows the hiring manager, shows the company what success looks like with you in the role. It's an amazing reframe and can absolutely change the dynamic of how those conversations go. I mean, it's incredible how suddenly when you show up as the guide, you're the guide, your resume is the prescription or blueprint, with you walking them through it to how you're going to show up and solve all of those pain points. Now, the framework works a little bit like this. If the hiring manager is a character in the story, the role is, and all those things in the job description are the problems, are the pain points. Well, now they meet you. You're the guide. You're going to give them this plan, the plan of you and how you show up and what you do and how all of your value and experience is going to create impact and contribution. That's the plan. And when it's delivered in a compelling way with ease and certainty, it calls them into action. I read a quote recently that was, people buy things not because you convinced them, but because they convinced themselves. That's what I want for you in every interaction you have in your job search. We want the people you're talking to be convincing themselves that they need you. You're the person that is going to make their life easier and better. And when you call them into action, you're showing them, it all comes full circle. You're showing them exactly what success looks like, that you are the person that's going to lead them to success. Physically, tangibly solving those problems and providing those solutions, whatever they are, but also through your behaviors and your transferable skills and the way you show up, being that person that solves the problem on this emotional level, that your boss doesn't have to worry anymore whether the work is going to get done. They don't have to worry if there's going to be any relational conflicts or other kinds of things, that you're going to be a leader who gets things done and persuades people to come together around a common purpose. Wow, what a relief as a hiring manager to know that someone's going to solve that problem, and on that philosophical level, that it's not so hard. It doesn't have to be hard to have the right person in the right role because you've shown up as the solution to their problem. It's a fascinating way to approach all of your interactions. And the best thing that you can go into when you go into the conversations is, instead of thinking of yourself as a product to be sold, think of yourself as a product that you're marketing. Even go as far as to thinking of yourself as the consultant in the situation. That's what guides are. They show people, hey, I understand your problem. You're listening, you're asking great questions, and you're interacting in a way that shows that you understand and that you have the perfect solution. You have the perfect combination of skills and experiences to do this well. When you're the consultant, it also changes the dynamic of the conversation. Because again, now you're colleagues. You're two people talking who actually want the same thing in the end. You have the same interests because this is a company, whether it's a tech company, a fashion brand, you're there because you have the same interests and you have the same goal in mind. And when you connect on that level, it changes the dynamic, and it really helps the person on the other side of the desk, or, depending on when you're listening to this, on the other side of the screen, if you're doing a video interview, it really changes that dynamic because now they start to see you. You're painting a picture of you in that role, of what it's going to be like to interact with you on a daily basis, that you're that person that will collaborate with them, that will ask great questions, that will provide innovative solutions, not because you have all the answers and you're the hero, but because you're a person who has the skills, knowledge, transferable skills, and way of showing up that's going to make their life easier and better. So I challenge you, next time you get into a conversation, think about handling it a little bit differently. Think about marketing yourself as someone who can make your hiring manager's life easier and better than selling yourself as the be-all, end-all hero of the story. I guarantee it's going to change the dynamic. It's going to change the outcome of that conversation. All right. Well, I hope you do it, and I hope you let me know how it goes. All right. Talk to you next time. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out my Love Your Work Life programs on Teachable. You can choose from on-demand courses or personalized one-on-one coaching with me. We take all of this material and apply it so that you can live it and create the career you want. Because when you love your work life, all the other parts of life get better too. So go to Love Your Work Life Teachable as search terms, or love-your-work-life.teachable.com. I will see you there.